in this qualifying session, but I'm gonna meanwhile switch over, at least on my screen, over to the currently the three-time defending champion of the Division 1 championship and also the current leader here in Season 5 for the Drivers' Championship, Ariel Wouter, who's coming around the final corner. We'll see what his first lap is going to be, and he actually goes faster than Passassin. He takes that provisional pole position here, a 129.6. So Knight, like you were saying, already lots of time starting to fall and lots of very quick times at that. So far, everybody on the soft tires separated by less than a second here already in these early stages.
Yeah, it's a very, very competitive division in Div 1, and these guys aren't wasting any time trying to set the bar as high as they can. A couple 29s, some low 30s, and those times are really going to start falling as the track grips up. Now, in China, you know, there's a bit of a pit strategy thing going on because the soft tires don't last very long. The 4 or 5 laps, you can drag them out. I know I did in the Division 2 race, drag them out to about 8 or 9, but by the end you are very, very much struggling for grip there. You should only really be doing that if you think you can time the weather well, which is what we were trying to do in Division 2. These guys, I don't know about the weather. It's nice and sunny here, but is it going to rain in the race? We don't know that yet. Could explain why a lot of drivers are opting to go with the softs. The thing is, if anybody's able to qualify those mediums into the top 10, they're going to be on an amazing strategy during the race.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's not looking like it's going to be the case, at least initially. Top 10 so far, all on the soft tires, but like you mentioned, could be an indication of rain coming, or just quite possibly, just like we've seen so often in qualifying, just generally, the qualifying just has a way of everybody starting on that optimal strategy they want to be running for the race, but as soon as one driver ends up putting on those soft tires near the end of the session and essentially making everybody else react to him, that's when we start seeing compromises start to be made, drivers just opting for that better starting position, because of course it is easier to defend than it is to overtake on just about any track. Here is a little bit more the same, although, of course, these long straights that they have, that of which we saw Sophion head down, and, of course, the start-finish straight, do give a little bit of an advantage here, especially with DRS. Very powerful here in this track from what I've seen. Sophion crossing the line, 6th fastest on the soft, so 130.1, so slotting himself in, yeah, pretty good, bringing that McLaren right up into the, upper middle of the pack, but essentially right where he needs to be, looking at the times. Of course, Wouter and Passassin are kind of up there. He's at Kush as well in sort of their own realm of the sub-130s, but from 4th all the way down to 10th, separated by what looks to be essentially 4/10 of a second there. Yeah.
And again, it's super close. The usual suspects up at the front there, Wouter, Passassin, is it? You can group Tin Can up with them. I don't think that was his optimal lap.
Oh, no.
Because he's right outside of the 129s. I know he's going to be dying to get inside, but after that, it is so close, and it only get closer. Expect the lap times, more guys, to get into the 129s. Expect these lap times to fall considerably as we get into the session. There's still 9 minutes left. That's 9 minutes of rubber on the track, 9 minutes of practice, 9 minutes of warm-up, and those final 2-3 minutes, I expect these times to be dropping like flies, because separated by over a second for the top 10, that's not Div 1. They got to bring that gap closer.
Oh, definitely is the case, and I do think I do have to agree with you. I think we're going to see the time start to fall, but it's something that, to my surprise so far today, just generally, I haven't seen much of them, and from that, just track extensions, invalidated laps, and that's something that I feel, especially in a track like China, where you're pushing the track limits a little bit on some of these corners. I thought I'd see a few more invalidations, but it looks like a lot of the drivers have come to race here, but as qualifying... Sorry, going ahead.
The thing with China, right, is you'd think a track like this you'd get a lot of invalidations. The problem with a track like this is that the curbs this year are absolutely deadly on China, and I know personally for the entire race, there wasn't much penalties because everybody's avoiding those curbs like the plague. So that could be also why we're not seeing too many invalidations so far, simply because you get on the curb and your lap's pretty much ruined. So these guys doing a good job avoiding that.
Yep, and that is a fair point, and it is something that we've brought up here, I think, week in, week out, talking about those curbs. But I mean, they always make themselves a talking point week in, week out. So we'll see how. I guess we'll have to see how the drivers are going to handle that. And I do think, because of course, once we start seeing the times really start to fall, given that, I mean, a tenth of a second seems to be the difference between ending up in P11 and ending up in P7 at this point in qualifying. I think we're going to start seeing maybe a little bit more daring moves on the laps, so to say. Maybe pushing some corners a little bit more, pushing some of those curbs, and I think that's when we're going to start seeing possibly the men being separated from the boys there, as Skilla crosses the line in P14 with a 139. Looked like there was that was Appin, who had a little bit of a moment coming around the final corner. Now getting back on track, continuing on his way. Nothing to worry about there. Just a little bit of tire wear, and I'm sure a little bit of time loss as well. And there went a Red Bull. Equally, that might have been either Farrell or Rotation that had a moment on the final corner, getting that car back on track. But that was Josh too, I think, having to take a little bit of avoiding action to not bring his Alfa Romeo right into that Red Bull, as it was at a very dangerous spot on track, as it was losing control there.
Yeah, the couple of teams there having a rough start to qualifying. Both Red Bulls, Farrell actually just sets a lap there, gets out of the bottom five. But both Red Bulls, both Williams, neither of those teams have a driver in the top 10. And it's crucial that you at least get some distance between you and your teammate when the pit stop on a track like China comes so early in the race. Because if you are still a spot or two behind your teammate, you're not going to be able to double stack. If your teammate's running third and you're at the end there as rotation, one of the Red Bulls having a moment. If your teammate is far behind you, you can double stack on the same lap there. Should be okay with the pit strategy. But these guys running close together like that, Passé and Wagner finally put some distance between them two. They might have a tough time come pit strategy. They might not be able to go on the optimal one.
Well, no, either that or they're going to have to, if they're not already communicating, they're going to have to find a way to communicate, really let themselves, really figure out amongst themselves who wants to be that first driver to take a pit stop if it does happen to be the case. But it looks like now both the Red Bull and the Williams have at least given themselves a little bit of separation. Wagner brought himself up into P9, it looks like, and like you mentioned, right as you were making your point, Farrell up to P14 with his updated lap. But even, I mean, I'm looking even near the top of the grid with XL Tin Can, Sophion is, for now they've got a little bit of a gap, but I mean, we've seen the pace Sophion has. I don't think I need to tell you about the pace of XL Tin Can. Oh, but right as I was saying that for Sophion, as he comes around the corner towards the long back straight, just loses the back end on the acceleration, and I mean, that what was looking to be a good lap is now gone out the window for Sophion, and he's gonna have to try again.
The good news is that he hasn't NF'd. He's going to get another try. There's still plenty of time left in the... Well, plenty of time is a matter of speaking, I suppose, because there's only 5 minutes left. But that's plenty of time to get some fresh rubber on that car, get back out on the track, fix any damage he may have incurred in that spin there. So it's not game over for Sophion, but certainly not what you want to have happen to you on a flying lap.
No, definitely not. And as I was looking at... So I was watching another driver in the meantime. I'll make a bit of a note of Ryan Malta, and currently down in 16th. I mean, still a good 130.5 to his name, but a little bit of a shocking position to see Ryan Malta so far down the order this late in qualifying, being on an equal tires as the rest of the grid, it seems here. Because of course the Haas driver, we've been used to seeing him competing mostly for those top fives, flirting with that group of, I guess you could call him the top 3, top 4 now, from Isaac Kush, who's currently sitting on provisional pole. I completely missed that, all the way down to XL Tin Can, Jer, if you want to throw him in there. So is Ryan Malta maybe struggling here around China? But
it could be traffic that he got on his first lap. Either way, though, I don't know if this is the best decision or a questionable one. AJ Wuhan and Ryan Malta both out on track. If you look at that marker there, every other car is in the pits. They know the track's going to ramp up in the next 2 minutes or so. They want to be the last cars out on track. Now, if these guys get a great lap here, or they dive into the pits for a fresh set of boots, they can get back out there, get another lap. There's no traffic, so they're not going to get impeded. The thing is, are they going to lose time? Now, those guys going out late, are they going to lose time from the traffic, or are they going to gain that back in terms of the track ramping up? So, bit of a gamble to go out so early for your last lap. AJ Wuhan's going to be diving back in. I think he might be putting on some fresh boots, going for another one. But Ryan Malta, that other car that was out there, might, end up not getting another competitive lap in here.
Well, I mean, Ryan Malta did actually dive into the pits right as you were mentioning.
He has.
Yeah, so I think you might have been looking at Coxey, who I think, if I recall correctly, I believe it's his debut here in Division 1, at least for Season 5. Rocking Ariel Coxey here, currently in 12th, so if unless I'm mistaking, welcome to Division 1.
Yeah, no, that is his, I'm pretty sure it is his debut. He joined Ariel not too long ago, and a couple, I guess is an understatement, a couple of Ariel drivers in the league right now. Some guys that you've seen here in previous seasons for a long time, some fresh new faces that have never raced at ISRL before. Coxey is in that latter category there, but doesn't mean he's not going to impress. But what's happening right now is an absolute mass exodus out of the pits, and this is going to cause so much traffic towards the end of this track because, just about every car is going to go out on track. AJ Wuhan's going back out just in time. Passe should go out if he wants time, but I'm not sure he's going to get out of there on time.
I mean, he is out now.
Yeah. So these guys, they need to basically, Passe and Wuhan, they need to set a 1:30 lap just to get to the line in time, roughly. So they're not going to be going too gingerly on their out lap. They got to push. That could affect their tires and ruin their further laps.
Oh yeah, and it's something that, I mean, to go back on when you're wondering why drivers were out a little bit early, I mean, this could be a little bit of the reason for it, right? We're seeing everybody leaving together, and sort of like what we tend to see on tracks like Monza in the real-life Formula 1. This might create a little bit of a backlog, especially for all these drivers on their out laps looking to create separation with one another, and this could get a little worrisome for drivers, let's say, like XL Tin Can, who went out a little bit earlier, currently on a flying lap, and now approaching this big old backup, and we're going to get a great view here of the onboard of Tin Can, which honestly isn't looking nearly as bad as I thought, but oh, now we're coming up to everything. Oh, oh no! A big moment there as Izad Kush was trying to get his tires warmed up. XL Tin Can, meanwhile, just on a flying lap. Izad with, I mean, somewhere to go, but not getting out of the way.
Might be a penalty there for Izat. There's some spinners coming out of the last corner as well. I'm not 100% sure who that was there. Oh, that's Wagner, who's had a spin coming out of the last corner, and Coxey's involved as well. Two cars there come and tangle together. That's what I was talking about. You wait until the last minute, you're going to run into all this traffic. How many cars just now have had their last laps ruined because of that traffic jam? They didn't wait long enough. They had to go. They all went, and a couple of guys getting tangled up together or just getting some plain old dirty air from the car in front. This has definitely taken a few potential pole position runners like Josh Chu out of the running there. There's still just about 17 cars on a flying lap though. First one of those I believe is Jer, who's going to be the first one to come to the line and finish his lap.
Yep, looks like it. He's coming around the hairpin corner now. XL Tin Can, like we mentioned, caught up in that incident. He's not going to be able to improve. Let's see what Jer can do as he's heading towards the line. Bumps himself up to P3. I know Assassin invalidated as I was going through the drivers, so he's going to remain in 4th. So I think this pole position battle is going to come down to Wouter against Izat. Wouter in 2nd, so I think Izat might just have solidified that pole position unless we've got a runner here that I'm trying to go through. The only one I think can be AJ, which, I mean, not going to be the case as AJ crosses the line P11. So Izat Kush survives, albeit only just.
Yeah, bad to worse for Josh. I don't know if you noticed that there. So Assassin spun on his flying lap, his last flying lap. He was kind of sideways there in turn 1. And Josh didn't make it to the line in time, so he is driving with AI right now. Assassin was on his flying lap, even though Josh's AI passed him, and Assassin ended up kind of just taking his time and making his way back to the pits. Problem is, he was behind Josh's AI, and this game, because it's so well made, thought that Josh was blocking, and he just got another one.
Oh,
so Josh is going to start last on the grid for illegal blocking, despite him having no control of his car and being in AI mode right now. And if that just doesn't tell you what a great game we're playing on, I'm not sure what will, because that is clearly just peak programming. 5 place grid penalty for Josh, and then Izzet, you know that moment he had with XL Tin Can, he's earned himself a 5-second grid drop. So it is going to be Wouter in P1. Izzet's going to start 5th.
Wow. I mean, for Izzet, I understand, but for Josh, I'm speechless here with not 1 but 2. It's a little overkill there for him, but I mean,
there's nothing he could do. He was in AI mode, and Assassin was taking his time and driving slow behind him. And it's not Assassin's fault either, because he wasn't on a flying lap. But it just shows that sometimes you got to be careful there, not to screw over your competitors unintentionally. The problem being, you could probably do that on purpose. You know, that's a very easy thing to replicate and to mess about with. So these drivers, hopefully, they're not going to weaponize that glitch, because you could end up with some pretty cheeky moments. And not cheeky in a good way.
Yep, I mean, all we can do, at least for now, is hope and, I mean, keep an eye out for it. But on another note, as I was looking at the qualifying times and the gaps, I believe it was the top 9 that were all separated by roughly a second in pace, and essentially the top 18, everybody other than the final 2 drivers who didn't have a time and set a time on a different tires, they're all separated by 1.3 seconds, which, I mean, is a lot in racing, but when you consider all with the fastest laps, that's still crazy to see once again just how close the grid is here for Division 1, just such little separation.
You have to consider as well that a lot of these drivers did not get a last flying lap. That gap probably could have gone down a bit for a lot of these guys. But because of that car park that we saw and spins and getting tangled up with other drivers, quite a few final laps didn't happen. Could have been closer, and it just shows how competitive Division 1 is this year.
Oh, definitely. And we're gonna get another experience of that firsthand here today. Once we do jump into the race, I'm sure we're gonna be filled with excitement here. Of course, getting through the formation lap, and Knight, as you mentioned, it's Ariel Wouter starting from pole position, leading the Drivers' Championship here for Season 5, and will be leading the drivers off the line here for the start of the race. He's got possibly his main rival on track or off track, Jer, right behind him for company on the front row of the grid in P2. So great to see these 2 drivers once again picking up right where they left off last race.
So one thing that we absolutely should mention, because we did talk about it quite extensively last week, is that Jer did not claim he was going to win this Grand Prix. He talked a big game in the last couple of weeks. We all know how that turned out, but he kept it shut this week. He didn't make any bold claims about winning, and he's P2 right now with what looks to be the second best opportunity to win this race. Of course, pole position being probably your best. Now, it is a long race. It's not going to be decided in turn 1. It won't be decided in turn 2 even. It won't be decided by the end of the first lap, so he's got to stay in there. But, you know, if he can, did he keep that ego in check this week? Is he going to be able to win finally?
We'll have to see. I mean, it could also just be, well, he spoke a lot of smack the first few races and hasn't quite worked out for him. So, you know, maybe something's got to change. So maybe just keep his mouth shut, take the spotlight off of himself just a little bit, and just long enough to take care of business. We'll see how that'll work out for him. I'm also noticing, unfortunately for Coxie and Farrell, they were unable to take part in the formation lap, and I think that could affect Coxie a little bit more than Farrell here. Coxie opting to start on those white-walled hard tires, similar to Josh too, from the back of the grid here, and not having that opportunity to put the heat, put some heat in that tire, get them into the optimal range. That could mean Coxie could be losing out on a few positions from the start of the race here. So just something to keep an eye out there in that midfield.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting start, isn't it?
Yep, it's going to be a good one here. The drivers are lined up. We're just waiting for the cue for the 5 red lights, up to 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And they're off, and we are racing here in China as the drivers are heading down towards turn 1, and it's looking to be a good start from Wouter. Jer slots in behind, but as we head down, we've got the 2 McLarens and the, I'm seeing Izat caught in a bit of a McLaren sandwich there as he's trying to get up the order here from P6 after that grid drop. Looking to do a good job. Everybody making it through relatively cleanly through the first few corners. Passe getting ahead of Carmentalist as they're going side by side, heading into the braking zone. Yellow flags, that looks to be Appin, who had a bit of a moment early on the exit of turn 3, I think it was. He's going to have his work cut out for him, trying to catch back up. And Skilla once again on the exit of turn 4, equally having a bit of a moment there. Now Coxie down in 13th, trying to keep up with Farrell as they're continuing that formation lap battle, it seems, side by side as they're heading through this corner section. But it looks like they've got that sorted out for the time being. But other than those 2 drivers who fell down the order, it looks like everybody has made it through relatively cleanly here through the first few sectors as they're heading down towards the back straight, with Wouter still leading, but Passassin getting ahead of, oh my goodness! But where did I say that? Coxie and Nathan JB get brought in together. The camera just caught that at just the right moment, and that is going to bring out a safety car.
I understand the safety car there. They're getting hooked, and they got sent head first into the wall. I mean, I don't normally cringe or physically react to crashes, but I actually was worried someone was going to get hurt there. That was a huge impact.
Oh, yeah, that's, that makes 2 of us there, and go figure, right as I was talking about how everybody is making it through cleanly, and we're going to have a nice start here, then all of a sudden, like clockwork, it just happened. Coxie and Nathan having just taking a big impact into the wall, and crucially now, it looks like right around a similar spot, I think Appin also maybe losing a backhand, having a bit of a moment, but he's out of the race as well here. So we're now 3 drivers down here after lap 1. Coxie and Nathan getting caught up in that incident, and of course Appin, I didn't quite see what happened, but I know he wasn't having the best start of the race for himself here, having that mistake a little bit early on the exit of, I believe it was turn 3. But under safety car now, it's Passassin who's now leading under safety car, and it looks like I think Wouter might have taken a pit stop.
Well, that's just it. A lot of these guys, knowing that they're going to have to get off the softs sooner rather than later, opting to do it here under the early safety car. And is it a gamble? Yes. Can it pay off? I think so. You got the pit stop out of the way. Only 3 guys left here on the soft compound tire. Passassin, Izzet, and Jerome staying out. Everybody else pitting. That means, or everybody else who started on the softs, I should say, pitting. That means Wouter down to P9. Jer down to P10, Sophion down to P11, but they have that extra pit stop out of the way, and if they got on the hards like Carmenlis, Passe, Ryan Malta, etc., could they go to the end? Not sure. They definitely have a solid shot if they can take care of those tires here, because the hard tires last for absolutely ever around this track. Now, did you see that on the start? Is it? And the 2 McLarens going 3 wide through that entire turn 1 and 2 and 3? It was absolutely insane.
It was bonkers to see. I think we did catch that as I was going through the kerfuffle of turn 1. I mean, is that really? I mean, quite literally was stuck in a McLaren sandwich as he was going through the through turns 1, turn 2. It was great to see. I mean, I was happy to see everybody just making it through cleanly. Shows the skill and the respect that all the drivers have here on track for one another. But definitely some hard racing, and I do hope we get to see more of it for equally as important positions from those 3 drivers and more once we do get to go back to green flag racing. But you were talking about the
sorry, I was just reading our Division 1 chat, and let's just say that there's some different views on what caused that incident between Nathan and Coxey. Yeah, I think that's what we'll leave it at. We're not going to get the rest of the conversation. They've gladly taken it out of the chat there, but in the few words that they've exchanged, you can tell that they definitely have a different version of what happened. So something for the stewards to look at already in this race.
Definitely didn't take long for that, but of course sometimes that's. I mean, it's the way she goes in racing sometimes. Accidents do happen.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but now safety car is coming in. They've got the incident cleaned up and ready to go. Just very quickly with Wouter, Jer, Sophion all opting for those medium tires. You were talking. I don't think they can bring them to the end. The hard tires, if you do nurse them, you can bring them to the end as well. But from what I did notice, as far as the Division 4 race was concerned, which is a bit of a jump, but it does give a little bit of an idea. A lot of the drivers who went on the hard tires early, it seemed like the pace and the wear just kind of fell off near the end with about 5-6 laps to go, which forced a lot of those hard tire runners to pit for an extra set of softs. So I think at that point, if that's anything to go along, maybe Wouter, Jer, Sophion are running the better strategy. Just put the mediums on if you're going to be pitting, taking a second stop anyways here by the end of the race.
That's a good point. We do have to consider as well that the Division 4 does have access to these guys' setups, of course, through time trial.
Whoa, a big moment from Passassin on the restart, and Passassin is out of this race! Sorry for cutting you off there, but caught
okay.
that right off the restart.
I couldn't see it from my point of view there. I was on board with another car. I just saw the rear end of that Mercedes flip out, but what a poor restart there from Passassin. He was able to control the pack, and he basically he spooked himself, I think. Spin out coming out of the last corner, and he couldn't save it, and unfortunately Passassin is going to be the recipient of another DNF here. 4 rounds in, and his championship is absolutely not where he was wanting it to be.
Oh, definitely not, and especially here today, he was just looking so confident in that seat, but unfortunately, sometimes that's the case. Just one mistake is all it takes. And under the safety car, we've mentioned it time and time again over the course of our 5 seasons here. You've got to make sure that you've got enough heat in those tires. It's very, very easy. Just slip on a cold start, but there goes Jer, trying to go for an overtake. Clips rotation in the process, it seemed. Rotation went for a little bit of a spin. Jer got to continue on. That might be something the stewards could be looking into possibly, as it was a little bit of a tire clip clip, maybe a bit of a Codemasters typical side pod glitch that we tend to see time and time again as well. But from quick glance, it looked like, I mean, Jared got the overtake done, but for rotation, through no fault of his own, finds himself down the grid. There went Josh too, though, on the exit of the final corners. He's falling down the order, facing the wrong way on track. So it seems like, at least early on, that final corner, especially drivers trying to cut that inside, avoiding the outside line, it seems to be a bit of a challenge for a lot of drivers to take cleanly without losing too much control and losing too much speed.
It's that inside sausage curb. It sticks out just a little bit, but it's enough that if you take it with the underbody, the floor of your car, it jumps your wheels up in the air just long enough to lose traction. And that's what we're going to see a lot of drivers do potentially. Last year, this was a corner that you would attack full out, and you would just take as much curb as you could. You can't do that this year. You got to get the muscle memory out of it, or else we're going to see a lot more spins.
Yeah, and it's something that, it's funny you mentioned the muscle memory, because that's actually something that so far through a lot of these tracks, I've noticed that a lot more in these higher divisions that have been running more reps over the course of the games, just generally speaking, that it seems to be a lot harder for these the drivers in the higher divisions to get that muscle memory out of the way and commit to the new strategies rather than stick to the old strategies from games prior. And it seems like here today, it's another case of that, as it looks like Rotation's race is kind of going from bad to worse for him here, as yes, another moment on the exit heading down the long back straight. I've got Sophion on the screen as he's chasing down Eklund. A little bit further ahead, you've got Wouter chasing down the Red Bull of Feral Fury, and with no DRS just yet, still early stages, it's a little bit closer, but Wouter doesn't look like he needs it, trying to stick his nose down the inside here of the Red Bull. Feral, though, doing a fantastic job defending, putting that car carrying just enough speed on the line. But now here comes Wouter right back. He's going to go around the outside here. Maybe try a switchback move as he goes very deep on the entrance of the corner. Once again, they're back side by side. And through the inside line, it's Feral's position. Hang on a minute. Now it's Wouter's position. Who's going to take P4 by the end of this? It looks like finally Wouter is able to put that car ahead and hang on to that P4 for at least the next few corners at the very least. And I think now that's finally going to come to a close. But Feral putting up a valiant effort, a great effort there to hang on to that P4. But unfortunately, it's no easy feat for any driver to keep a three-time defending champion behind them.
Yeah, Feral, a bit of a underrated driver here in Division 1, I think. He's not exactly known for his flashy pace, but he's got the racecraft he needs to keep other stronger drivers behind. And sometimes that's all you need here to get some amazing results. You can just keep him behind, get him stuck in a DRS train, and he's showing that again with Jer here in the final couple of corners, just how good he is at defending.
Yep, and meanwhile, Sophion getting ahead of Eklund as they got very close. Sophion getting ahead with DRS. I think that was Passe who got ahead of Ryan Malta. Or Ryan Malta getting ahead of Passe as they're still battling through into turn 1, turn 2. But just now, Ryan Malta solidifying that position. The hard tire runners all coming together here as even XL Tin Can is getting involved, making this a bit of a three-car battle, a little bit of a train. All seemingly led by what looks to be Sophion, who's just leading this train of cars through and creating a lot of this battle. But for that sake, also it's helping out everybody ahead of him. Feral Fury the most, I think, who's able to just run his race, stick with the drivers ahead, and build a gap between P6 and P7, and essentially help out his own race here for the Red Bull driver.
Absolutely. You'll see it on the alternate angle here. The Ferraris, just ahead of Feral. And you'll see the Red Bull of Feral kind of in the distance there. Ferraris trying to swap positions down the straight. Will there be team orders down there? Not sure. But they're trying to outbrake themselves into the corner. I don't even know who got out ahead on that one.
It looks like Wouter got ahead of AJ, but Jer with a very heads-up play in the
Oh my goodness! That was straight out of Tokyo from Jerry. He's a country over. We're racing in China, and he's out here drifting around the last turn. What a save!
It was a save. I wish I could say I caught all of that, but I just saw the car just veer off the screen, and I mean, I've seen enough of that angle to know that's not where the car's supposed to go, but thankfully with the onboard, everything was back on track here. He did lose out on that position he had just gained, passing AJ Wuhan, so Wooter can breathe a little bit easier now, knowing he's got his teammate in between he and what looks to be his main competitor here, so Wooter can focus on catching the group ahead, the top two that have started to run away ever so slightly, and AJ can try to focus on keeping everybody else behind. But before that, I think Wooter and AJ switch positions, but Jer, just a big heads-up play in the process, just following right behind Wooter, knowing that that switch was going to happen, which left AJ going into that hairpin just stuck on the outside lane with nowhere else to go. He either stays outside or runs into Jer. So
yeah, that's sometimes all that you got to do is you know your opponent's going to go for a move. You just got to follow him through.
Wagner's out. Here, I'll switch over.
How did that happen? That's on the exit there. I think he's lost it on the curb probably. Hit that wall, and that's the end of the Williams' race. A bad day for a couple teams already there. Williams losing a driver, as did Alpine, Haas, Alfa Romeo, and Mercedes. Not too many pair of teammates left in this one.
No, that's the thing. A lot of teammates losing or getting lost out here already with what looks to be 5 DNFs in the race. But I mean, I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted here by this midfield battle that's going on with the pit stops, getting everything sorted out. But it was a sight to see, nearly 2x2 as they were heading down the start-finish straight. And now that we're seeing the leaders here, Izat Kush took his pit stop finally, got off of those hard tires. Joran opting to stay out a little bit longer, looking to push those soft tires just a little bit more. We'll see how that'll work out for him, but Wooter is now right up along the rear of that Mercedes driver, and it seems like it's going to be more a matter of when, not if, Wooter gets the overtake done, especially with the long back straight. But it has essentially rebunched up the pack a little bit here. Now we've got essentially from P2 all the way down to what looks to be P12, all in this same DRS train coming down the back straight now. But there is a change for the lead. Wooter does now get ahead of Joran, so Wooter does take the lead for the Ferrari team. Might need to take one more pit stop here, but it seems like... oh my goodness!
No.
Oh, that was 2 of them that went in a row. That looked to be Sophion and AJ just following each other, coming around the hairpin there. And they're both now needing to get back on track, and that's a lot of time lost.
And AJ, too eager to get back into it, and he's going to spin it around the final curb.
Oh, no.
Sophion himself, I think, took some wing damage, so he's going to have to dive into the pits. So these guys are running so well, and just like that, this game can be an absolutely finicky little thing, can it? And, spinning it around the curb, and I think there is wing damage on that Ferrari, or he's just trying to be careful not to spin it again. And it's that curve on the exit of the hairpin there that I think got both of them. They're just, too quick on the throttle, wheels on the curb, and it just bounces your car. It's almost a glitch because of the way it is. If not, it is a glitch because it's not exactly a natural feeling curb, and unfortunately for these two, getting taken out of the contention because of it.
No, I mean, thankfully, still a lot of race to go for them. I mean, 18 laps remaining in this Grand Prix. There is time to catch up, albeit they do have their work cut out for them now after that, needing to take that extra pit stop, maybe fix a little bit of damage in the process. They might be hoping for those that wonderful car of safety to come out, but we'll see how this plays out. XL Tin Can, meanwhile, getting ahead of Passé, going down the inside as they head towards the hairpin corner. They've got that pretty much in pack this time around. XL Tin Can up to P6. and now he's going to be chasing after the two AlphaTauris of Eklund and Carmentalis that they've been working together. They're running a different strategy here as far as the tire choice is concerned, and they've put their AlphaTauris in a great spot here in this stage of the race, running P4, P5, just outside of the podium. But meanwhile, as far as Carmentalis is concerned, putting a lot of pressure on the brother team of Red Bull Racing here. They want that podium for themselves, it seems. But that little tank slapper is not going to help Carmentalis there too much.
Now, there's a lot of Honda engines running at the front there. Are they going to work together to get past Jaron Wuter? Highly doubt it, but it's nice to see your teammates and engine teammates, I guess you could say, running nearby each other. You always know you're going to get a little bit more room in the corners when it's one of those guys running near you. But behind them, Tin Can, Passe, Scylla, they are not going to give these guys an inch. And kind of a hold up there behind Feral Fury. Can Carmentalis, who's running well again after a couple of strong weekends, or Eklund, who's I'm not going to say anything about his performance because I feel like I've jinxed him 2 of the last 3 laps. But he is running there in P5, trying to keep that McLaren behind them.
Yeah, what I can say about Eklund for a fact is that he is the AlphaTauri that's on your screen right now. Or at least he's on my screen from what I'm seeing, so might be on your screen as well. Defending XL Tin Can, doing a very good job of defending. He's benefiting from that DRS train with his teammate, but Carmentalis, I think he thought he had an opportunity to overtake Farrell going into turn 1, turn 2. Thought about it, tried to go for it, but that opportunity just completely closed up on him. So
Farrell taking a bit of a wider line there mid-corner, kind that you would take on turn 7 in Spa, where it's a tight entry, you drift out wide, and then you cut back and hit a very, very late apex. And Carmentalis there, seeing that gap open, going, oh, you know what, I think I can fit my car in there, but it closed up right away, and he did a good job to not overcommit there, because that could have caused a bit of a nasty little spin with all those cars behind him. I feel like somebody would have gotten collected.
Yeah, it did give that little feel of possible domino effect if it was to happen, especially in that area of the track with everybody running so close together. Now, I've been watching Ryan Malta a little bit as he was putting a lot of pressure on Skilla through Sector 2. But it doesn't look like that pressure's there anymore. Let's move back to XL Tin Can and Eklund, as now they're essentially side by side as they're heading down towards the hairpin, and it looks like right ahead of them Carmentalis is trying to get ahead of Feral Fury, and it looks like one AlphaTauri losing a position, but another AlphaTauri gaining a position. Carmentalis up into 3rd, Feral down into 4th, but that's XL Tin Can now up in P5 with Eklund down to P6. So, I mean, like I said, an AlphaTauri moving up, an AlphaTauri moving down. They're still running a decent race here, but Eklund on those medium tires might just be starting to feel the early signs of wear compared to everybody else around him running on those hard tires.
Yeah, something you have to keep in mind there. Feral Fury on the mediums, Eklund on the mediums, and both of them losing a position here to hard tire runners. So is this the point where the tire strategies start to shift a little bit? The hard tires might be the faster tire now at this point in their lifespan. Now, what this is doing, and this is great for our leader, Wuter, Tin Can is the runner-up in the championship right now. And if he can get stuck in the traffic, even if he finishes 3rd, this gives Wuter a much more comfortable race. He doesn't have to fend off from his biggest rival in the title challenge right now, because he's stuck in that battle there with the Honda engine, Honda powered cars. So Wuter can take it easy, can make those tires go a little bit longer into the race, and kind of solidify his grasp on first place right now.
Yeah, it looks like that's what Wuter's doing. He's doing a good job of it now, because XL Tin Can, he's trying to make some moves here, but not having that jump that I would have expected from the McLaren driver. I mean, he's getting close, but and it looked like
Tin Can with a bit of a tank slapper there on the exit. A bit too much curb as he got on the power, and the rear end just tried to get away. Did a good job saving that.
Yep, and now you've got Skilla getting ahead of Passe into turn 1, turn 2, make a nice little move with the help of DRS to switch positions. Ryan Malta, meanwhile, still down in 9th, maybe starting to get a little bit frustrated because he's been trying to get a move on, but just hasn't seemed to been able to get ahead. Now he's going to go for it around the outside, looking to go the long way around Passe. Ooh, nearly losing it there, as there's still... Oh my goodness, no!
Oh my goodness!
No, Ryan Malta clips the curb, unsettles the car, and the rest is history, as you saw on your screen. Thankfully, Passe didn't get brought up with that. Passe was maybe just felt a bit of a bump and continuing on his way. But unfortunate for Ryan Malta, is he did such a good job of keeping that car right alongside. But I mean, it goes back to what you mentioned. We're not seeing the corner cuts because nobody wants to touch the curbs, and that right there is exactly why issues like that. Meanwhile, though, Tin Can is now maybe getting a little bit of a move on, making a move and gets the overtake done on Feral Fury, as it was a bit of a drag race heading towards the braking zone. So XL Tin Can now finds himself back into P4, but goes for a spin around the final corner. Another one gets collected here around the final corner, and all that progress is lost for XL Tin Can, as he now finds himself back down in P9 behind Izat Kush here. And Wouter, if he has the stream open or any radio communications with somebody who's got this, Wouter's probably very happy in that Ferrari after possibly hearing about that mistake from the McLaren driver.
It's it's turning out to be an interesting one, isn't it? And I did want to point out here, the medium tire runners are going to have to pit, right? But the two that pit earlier here, that didn't pit earlier, but that stayed out on the softs. Is it got on the hards? Oh, is Josh retires from the session?
I think. Oh, that brought out a safety car. I think that's another victim of that final corner, that wonderful sausage curve that everybody's gotten to know and love here today. Just looking at the placement of that car, just right before crossing the line, and I think. I do think it was just a little mistake around the final corner from Josh too that ended his Grand Prix. What?
It's unfortunate, but it happens. That's 5 retirements here. Rotation's gonna be in the points here as soon as he gets by that stranded car of Josh. What I was gonna mention, and now this kind of doesn't matter anymore because with everybody being able to pit under safety car, it's gonna change it up. But we might as well run you through it anyways. But Izzet got on the hard tires. He was good to go to the end. Jerome, the other car that stayed out, got on the medium tires. Now, for Jerome to make it to the end, he would have to do a little bit under 20 laps here, like I think 17 laps on those tires, and it's doable. We saw some guys pull 21 laps on those tires this morning. Are they going to be competitive laps? I don't know. And Jerome opting to stay out there, so I think he's committed to going to the end here. This safety car is certainly going to help. But I feel like Izzet right now is going to be the one to watch. 6-lap-old hard tires against Wouter's fresh medium. So Wouter's going to have the advantage on the restart. But towards the end of this Grand Prix, I think these guys are going to be running about the same pace. So if Izzet can hold on and stay close, he's got a legitimate shot at a W here.
Oh, definitely, and I mean, the strategy's working out well for him, but like you said, those 6-lap-old hard tires, everybody else behind him, I mean, other than Joran, who's in 4th, but lots of drivers behind him, most notably Wouter and Jer, who put on a fresh set of medium tires, so they're on the fresher and faster compound here for the start of the race, or for the restart here once we do get it, but of course, it's going to really just come down to the wear of the tires, how much Wouter, Jer, everybody else on those fresh sets, how much they push compared to Izzet, and how much tire wear is going to be left to use up near the end of the race. But I will also make a note here. Rotation making a really, I mean, honestly, a clutch move here, not pitting on the first side of the safety car, and it's a bit of a veteran move because that actually allowed him to get unlapped here with everybody else taking that pit stop, and he can now essentially try to push a little bit. He's on a set of hard tires that can very easily go to the end, so if he can just run a hot lap or two, try to catch up to the back of the grid, he can maybe find himself snagging a few extra positions. And other than a couple mistakes for rotation,
Nope, sorry about that.
Nice little tunes there to take us through the safety car.
I accidentally switched apps on my phone, and Pokemon Go wanted to come say hi. I was trying to switch to our YouTube comments, and I may have clicked the wrong thing, so enjoy the nice little tunes. Nathan in our comments, to be fair, there are a fair few REL members who are stewards. That'd only be me and Wooter. I feel like I count more as an ISRL member than an REL member when it comes to stewarding, so don't worry about that one too much, Nathan. I feel like you're still gonna get a pretty unbiased review.
Yeah, but as one of the other stewards, REL who?
Yep. There's only one steward with REL in their name, and he's the man right there in P2, looking to win the race. Wizards looked strong this season, but he's got a brand new controller, so great for him. Which is what was really holding him back last year. Shap is sitting out this game. He just absolutely does not like it. So one of his biggest rivals gone. He's looking like a strong early favorite for the championship. But Jaren is it both have had some DNFs so far. Do you think that Jaren is it, if they just string together some good results, could catch up, or is it going to be kind of Wooter's championship to lose even this early in the season?
This early in the season, honestly, I think it's Wooter's championship to lose this early in the season. Because, yes, Jer or Izat can string a whole bunch of wins, but to me personally, Wooter and consistency go together like peanut butter and jelly. I don't know if I've ever seen a more consistent driver in my comms career than Wooter over the course of the 5 seasons here. So if he can just keep up that consistency, I think already it could be his championship to lose. But it's a long way to go. So of course anything can happen here, as looks like we're getting just about ready for the restart here. It's going to be a 10-lap sprint to the finish now for the end of this Grand Prix, assuming we stick to green as they go around the final corner. Looks like everybody making it through relatively cleanly for the most part as we head back to green. Izad getting a nice start. Wooter under pressure by Jer a little bit early on as they head into turn 1. But it looks like a relatively single file elsewhere. Skilla and Feral Fury going side by side. Feral having to take the long way around of turn 1, turn 2. So that's going to be a position loss from Feral as he falls down to P7. Skilla up into P6, position that car right where he needed to. Ryan Malta, I know, is going to be a man on a mission here, already going down the inside of XL Tin Can, but Ryan Malta put a set of soft tires on, as a little bit of a wobble there on the exit. Doesn't affect too much, but already up to P9, and now putting pressure, he almost went right down the inside of Fasse there, but that gap just closed up just in time. That was
opportunity. Opportunity was there, but it was only there for a fraction of a second, and Ryan Malta did an excellent job there reacting to the changing conditions on the race, or not changing conditions, but the changing situation on the racetrack, and not slamming right into the rear Passe. He's going to get another opportunity here down the straightaway, but I think all these drivers kind of dumping ERS, trying to stay ahead, and it's going to be easy done for Malta on the softs there. Is he going to get 2? I think he's trying to send it down Feral, and Ryan Malta gonna almost get 2. Oh, they're still side by side. Feral and Malta.
Side by side. Oh no! And you felt like that was gonna happen as they went side by side around the final corner. Unfortunately, though, it's Feral Fury that gets the worst of it, and his teammate also struggling around the final corner once again.
Yeah, rotation did excellent there to keep that Red Bull out of the wall.
Yeah,
It's getting very close.
Yeah, nice little caught that in the background too, which was a nice little extra sight to see there with the two Red Bulls. But I mean, Ryan Malta on a charge here with those soft tires, really putting them to work. Hang on, I just noticed Carmentalist right up on the rear diffuser of your Joran here, or Urine? Euron, okay. I completely had a memory blank there. Apologies for that.
You defaulted back to what we used to call them in season 3 and 4.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened. Probably.
Don't blame it on the memory loss. It's just a callback. It's throwback night.
Yeah, it's throwback. It's the muscle memory, but in the brain.
Yes, it's a comms muscle memory.
Exactly. But
the vocal cords are a muscle, aren't they? So.
Yeah, but Euron is under pressure and might be overtaken by Carmentalist here as their Carmentalist goes down the inside,
front as
side by side.
At the same time, Wooter making a move on Izzet, and we've got a new leader.
Oh my, I didn't even notice that. My goodness.
It was at the same time, exact same time as Carmentalist and Jerome were fighting, but it was just a little sneaky DRS slip by Wooter, got by in the hairpin, and Iz is very lucky that Jarrett didn't follow through because he tried to do it again there.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think I'm gonna keep this top 3 battle here on my at least on my screen here to watch, just so we can just so we're not gonna be missing anything here. It looks like Jer is putting a lot of pressure here on Izat, and for Izat Kush, I think those hard tires, at least in this stage, like we were talking about, are losing out, or don't have as much oomph, as much step in their stride as these fresher medium tires do. Which would explain why you've got the likes of Jer sticking so by, Wooter getting ahead, and look at this through the corners, riding on board with Jer, how close he's able to get. But of course, the question is, how are these medium tires going to fare in 6, 7, 8 laps time now, once they've gotten a few more laps under their belt? Maybe that could be when we see that maybe making one last little push right at the end of the race to see if he can snag it right back.
Izzet needs to stay close here. It was always expected he was going to lose. Oh, Chair almost going in the grass there to pass him. It was always expected, I think, that he was going to lose these positions. But once these medium tires hit double digits, that's when Izzet is going to have a solid chance. But he needs to stay very close, because as of right now, there's no way he can keep up with the medium compound tires.
No, he's got to stay minimally within DRS, and he's doing a good job of that for now. But of course, with these hard tires, where he's going to be losing most of the time is through the corners. On the in the braking zones, of course, having to brake just a little bit earlier, I feel, with those harder tires, and even on the exits of the corners, not finding as much traction on the exit compared to those the fresher medium tires of the drivers ahead. But I mean, seemingly still keeping that gap within half a second. Carmentalist, though, meanwhile, looks to be slowly closing the gap to right around about a second now, and seemingly closing. So that could be another wrench into Izat Kush's strategy here. If Carmentalist does get himself involved and start maybe pushing for that podium he himself. Of course, for the most part, other than two drivers, what we're seeing here on track is what we're going to be getting. Of course, Ryan Malta has a couple penalties to his name, but he's trying to make the best of that situation with those soft tires, and now chasing down Skilla down that long back straight. I just don't think he's going to have enough here on lap 21 to go for it. No, I think he thought about it, but just didn't quite close up enough with DRS. Kind of stuck in that DRS train with Skilla and Joran here, unfortunately for Ryan Malta. But he's going to have another shot at it here, but seems to be more the same. But actually, Skilla going for an overtake on Joran, so this might actually open the door for Ryan Malta a little bit if he can just be sneaky, bide his time. side by side here go Skilla and Joran here, and oh, I thought Ryan Malta was gonna go for that move, that gap there on the left hand side, on the inside of the corner, but he's gonna wait. Now he's gonna stick it down the outside. There's a little bit of contact there between the Mercedes and the Haas car, so at the end of the day, it's a big move, but no change in positions. And I think now we're going to see a little bit more single file here, at least up until that long back straight where Ryan Malta is going to go for it once again.
There might be a report coming Jerome's way there as he moved over in that braking zone, trying to defend from Ryan Malta. That's what caused the contact between the Haas and the Mercedes. What's going to determine if it's a penalty or not is whether or not he was given enough room to make that attempt without contact. So could maybe the stewards take a look at that. We'll see. Somebody who's having a good race right now is Sofian. He's faster than his teammate. He's stuck behind Tin Can right now, right behind that battle between Jerome and Malta.
Oh my no! That's Ryan Malta. He got stuck in that wonderful side pod glitch that we've seen year after year in this game, but unfortunately just sent Ryan Malta off, and he tried his best to keep that car, but at the end of the day just was not able to hang on. But I don't mean to cut off, but oh no, and that's XL Tin Can that went for a spin right as I switch back over to Sofian. He got past XL Tin Can. He's back on track now, but that's some more time lost from XL Tin Can. Unfortunate for him here, and Ryan Malta finds himself an early end to the race for himself.
That's one way for Sofian to get by his teammate. Just wait for him to make a mistake, and now he's going to be able to close up that gap to Jerome and Scylla and Carmentalist ahead. Ryan Malta there, yeah, that was absolutely unfortunate because running a good race, there was a lot of elbows out racing I saw from him, but definitely not something that we want to see finish in a DNF there. So far, though, these guys have been racing hard, but have they been racing a little bit too hard, maybe? We've seen quite a bit of contact between cars. Of course, that big incident right off the start with Coxie and Nathan JB. You know, Appen, I think, may have been victim of a little bit of contact. We saw a lot between Ryan Malta and Jerome, and various, you know, bits and banging and wheel-to-wheel contact. So maybe stewarding going to be a little bit of a handful this week. Maybe these guys are just keeping it so much on the edge that we're not going to get reports either way.
Oh no, but
awesome
Sofian
action.
goes for a spin. Sofian actually spun around the final corner as well. A sight we've seen so many times here in the race. So Sofian falls down to 12. Yep, that inside curve. Meanwhile, Wouter and Jer have been switching positions here over the last little bit. And that was, I wanted to bring that up, that Jer was actually leading the Grand Prix, but then right as Sofian went for that spin around the final corner with DRS, Wouter took the lead right back, but Jer still kept his nose in there for a good part of turn 1, 2, and 3, but Wouter was able to just find the traction, find the better line. But it seems like it's going to come down to the final corner between Wouter, Jer, and even Isaac Kush, who's still still in this battle here for the win.
He's doing an amazing job holding back, and I said, you know, he had to just hang on to these guys, and he was going to have a good opportunity. I didn't think he was going to do this good of a job at hanging out behind them.
But I will say, though, I think what might be benefiting Isaac Kush is that he can sit back in third and watch just Wouter and Jer just duke it out, running the same tire strategy, both trying to go for the win. I mean, let's be honest, Jer kept his mouth shut, but do you really want to think he wants to come in P2? Or do you think he wants to get the win?
Like, he's going for it, and there's no and ifs or buts about it. Jer is going to go for the win here. And whether or not he takes Wouter with him or he gets by Wouter cleanly, I feel like Izzet is going to be there to pounce on whatever the outcome is, because he's just done a great job holding that Aston Martin right behind them. Carmentalist, though, is just watching this, probably licking his lips right now, because he knows that Izzet isn't afraid of fighting with them too. If he just sits back and waits for one of them to make a mistake, he's got himself a podium.
Oh yeah, and this is like, I mean, Carmentalist he's been sort of on my list of I don't want to say underdogs, but sort of like black sheep type picks. But this is now, I think, 2-3 races in a row that he's just been sort of doing his own thing, but finds himself in a great spot right when he needs to be. Here, prime example in P4. I think last week in Spa was a bit of a similar manner that he just found himself keeping his nose clean exactly where he needed to be and got another strong result. And I think at this point, I think Carmentalist, it's time for me to take you off my my black sheep list and put you on my favorite list. I think spotlight's on you now for the AlphaTauri driver, at least on my end of the comms box, because he's just been fantastic here so far in Season 5.
Yeah, one thing that's gonna come and you kind of put a wrench here in this battle up front is the ERS levels, right? This long back straight. If you have enough battery to just dump it, and coming to the end of the race here, you can only need about 20% or so if you're going to use it for most of that straightaway. Wucher has done a good job saving his battery. He's got 51% ERS. Same with Jer, who's got 60, but right behind him he's had to use that battery to stay close to these two, so he's only down at about 40%. And then Carmentalist with a lowly 24, 22 right now, so he doesn't have as much, I guess, bargaining power in this fight as the other two, because he's going to need to use a mistake. He's going to need to have better lines. He's going to need to be better than the guys ahead. He can't just use the ERS and get ahead that way.
No, and I mean that's something that we'll see how we can play this out here. Sitting in P4 with that little bit of a gap, but you can see at least maybe I picked the wrong time to jump on board with them. But it looks like the corner exits for Carmentalist just really aren't there. He's got that top speed, but just the exits from the top three just seem to be a little bit better, which are just building enough of a gap for by the time Carmentalist does hit that maybe slightly higher top speed or slightly higher push.
Thinking about it. He's gonna. Oh, I thought Jer was gonna go for it there. Ooh. I would have sent it on Wuter, but Jer being patient and holding back there. He had such a run on the Ferrari.
Yeah, but I think now with how close this is, we're going into the penultimate lap here. It's lap 27 out of 28. In case nobody noticed here, because I'll be honest, I didn't notice. I thought we were still on lap 20 here with 8 laps to go of racing, but I mean,
it's gone by fast.
Yeah, but near here at the end of the race, you gotta figure out your strategy too, because it's not just about overtaking the driver ahead; it's about overtaking and keeping him behind now. And
you want to make sure he doesn't have an opportunity to come back at you. If you do it too early, he's going to have the chance to regroup and re-overtake you. So you got to time it absolutely flawlessly this late in the race.
Oh yeah, and I mean, Division 1, they're considering this strategy a little bit more than just race ends on an even number of laps, so I just need to be ahead on the even lap number. They're looking a little bit more into that. There is a little bit more of that chess game to be played between these top two drivers, and I think that might be what we're seeing here. Jer maybe thinking he could go for it, but opting to stay back, maybe conserve a little bit more, try to have that extra push. Oh, there you go.
Much closer this lap. He's going to have to use the overtake. He's actually not using any here. He's saving it. He's going to dump it all in the last lap.
And, but actually, XL Tin Can went off too, just in the process on the penultimate lap, as he's falling down. Okay, but no safety car, thankfully, here, as we're so late in the race.
Yeah, Jer not using any of his overtake. He's going to save it here for the last straightaway. This is very smart by him. He knows that Wuter is going to be able to make at least another move, and he's going to have to defend that if he passed him too early. He's saving it for the last lap, because what this does is it makes sure that Izzet can't follow him through and then have a go at him either. He's done a good job staying close, but Jer and Wuter have really turned up the pace here in the last couple laps, just using more ERS and driving a little bit faster. Izzet hasn't been able to get as close, but as we hit the final lap here, you can see him pushing. He's already closed up that gap there. I was talking like he was 7/10 behind. No, he's back down to 3/10. They're both going all out here on the last lap.
Yeah, pushing on the last lap. I'm gonna keep an eye on that. We've also got Jorn and Passe that have just been keeping right next to each other, alongside each other, trying to battle for that P6, P7 on track. So I did switch over to that temporarily, but as we're heading into the corner down the long sprung back straight. It's time. Let's see. This is, I think, going to be the corner exit that could possibly decide this race here, as who can get
further.
the better.
He's much further.
Yeah,
he's going to have to absolutely send it this time around, and I don't think he's going to get close enough.
No, he's emptying out the battery here, but no, not close enough here, as now he's going to have to rely on a possible mistake from a driver who doesn't make many. Yep. Around the final corner they go. It's going to be Wouter who takes the victory. Jaren second. Izat Kush rounding out the top three here, as everybody else crossing the line. Passe and Joran were close, but it's going to be Passe who gets the victory as far as that battle is concerned. Joran down in 7th. Eklund crossing in 8th here. Farrell in 9th. H.A. Wuhan rounding out the top 10. And then from having such a good race earlier on to just outside of the top 10, the two McLarens of XL Tin Can and Sophion, just luck not on their side here today, as they are 11th and 12th here in the order.
Yeah, not much luck there from the McLaren garage and the Sophion. He was going for fastest lap there and just trying to give it absolutely everything.
And I think at this point, crossing in style.
Yeah, he's lost on the final corner there. He knows he's not going to get the fastest lap, so he's just going to make the most of that finish and have a nifty little reverse across the finish line. But what a race here. Some DNFs. Stewards are definitely going to be busy, but all in all, we had an amazing battle for the lead there. And Jer came so close, kept it just a little bit too late, and Wucher was able to fend him off. But I think he's really shown there that him talking all that talk about winning the race wasn't just for show. He has a legitimate shot here if he can just keep it together for the whole race.
Yeah, but maybe that's the key for Jer here, is just since we're on the subject. I mean, didn't talk smack this week and had a good race, found himself in P2, and essentially just, I mean, it's easy to look back to it in hindsight, how that move, I think it was three laps to the end, where, I mean, you had mentioned yourself that you would have gone for it. You would have sent it down the inside. I mean, easy to look back in hindsight, but do you think that could have been Jer's victory had he gone for the move then when he could have, or do you think Wouter would have just came right back?
I think he should have went for it, because you don't know. You got to take the opportunity was there, and he sat back, and I think he kind of just let that opportunity run away from him. So hindsight is always 20/20, but it definitely would have been worth at least trying to send it there on one of those last 2 laps, because he was much closer than he was on the last lap.
Yep, but there is, at least on your screen, you've got the podium celebrations here, and it's a little bit of a flash from the past here on the podium, with Wouter, Jer, and Izat Kush occupying the top 3 in that order there. Very reminiscent of what we've seen in seasons past, but I guess some things never change here. But it is Ariel Wouter in the Ferrari, extending his lead in the championship after that P1 from pole. Solid drive from him, but of course he had to work really hard to get that victory here. Jaren second, kept him honest, but just didn't quite have enough in the tank at the end. Izat Kush from 6th on the grid to 3rd, and making that one stop work for a podium. So fantastic drive from Izat Kush. Carmentalis, Skilla rounding out the top 5. Passe, Joran, Eklund, Farrell, AJ Wuhan rounding out the top 10. As I'll just head down the rest of the order. So we've got that on the screen before the timer ticks down. But my goodness, what a race that was. And honestly, just completely filled with excitement. A little bit of chaos there. I mean, from a commentator's perspective, from a fan's perspective, I mean, it had everything I would have wanted to see and then some here. So, I mean, what a race that was. And props to Division 1 drivers for coming to race here today in China.
Yeah, what an absolute banger that was here. Let's hope we can get some of these drivers in for an interview. And I'm a little bit. I feel like one of these two is one of these three podiums is not gonna get an invite with how Division 1 chat's looking right now. But we'll get try to get Wooter and is it in here? Where are these guys? Oh, he's already in the. He's already gotten in. They both already have invites. They can join.
It ain't their first podium rodeo. They know the drill by now.
They know the drill.
But I mean, I will say, what a fantastic race. And I mean, if we're gonna be waiting for them to jump in, I mean, we do of course gotta give a bit of a special shout out to. I think this is probably as good as time as any to give a shout out, honestly, to our partners that I know you've been working with. They've been promoting us, and honestly, I mean, I gotta shout out Advanced Sim Racing, IMB Racewear, IFEA, Jackson Protection Agency. I mean, thank you guys for supporting us in what we do, and I mean, of course, ladies and gentlemen, you guys watching from home, thank you guys for your support, and thank you guys for allowing us to do what we like to do here, which is bring you guys, boys and girls, fantastic racing week in, week out here. And I mean, of course, I mean, shout out to Knight for just running the whole thing as honestly the best I've ever seen. So I do got to give you a shout out, Knight, for that.
What?
Go. So I mean, we'll give it a little bit here, I guess, to see if they want to join. Maybe they're out celebrating the champagne a little bit too much here after that race.
Yeah, maybe not joining in. I'll give them a tag there in the chat.
All right. Give it a little bit there, but my goodness, I still can't get over that race and how fantastic it was. And I mean, China, of course, it's a bit of a hit or miss track, but I mean, here in Division 1 at the very least, it was definitely a hit. I thought it was a fantastic race, one of the more exciting ones I've calmed here. I mean, here in everywhere, just to say, fantastic race, absolutely loved it. And oh, there we go.
There we go, just in time, eh? I
Yep.
figure while we wait for all these guys to join, I should announce it right here, right now. This is big news. You're going to have to find a co-commentator for next week, because for Canada, I'm putting my butt in that Red Bull seat, and I'm going to embarrass myself in Division 1.
All right.
And sorry for leaving you hanging, but it's my present from me to me. And you'll see me on track next week. Don't worry, I'll give you access to my PC. You can do the cool transitions.
There we go. Thankfully, I've got 2 weeks. Thankfully, I've got 2 weeks to figure out how that works with the break week next week. But
Exactly.
I think we can jump into we can move on to the interviews. And I mean, I've got the Ferrari on my screen. So Wouter, I think we can start with you. Can you hear us at all?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. So from pole to victory here, but definitely have to work hard for it here today. It seemed, at least from my end. But talk us through it. What were your thoughts here after that Chinese Grand Prix?
Overall, I think I had good pace, but early safety car made me change up the strategy, and I feel like that helped me a lot at the end as well.
Now, I do want to ask there, because I know, I mean, Jer was coming at you near the end of that race over the course of the last, let's say, 5 or 6 laps. Were there any moment that you were maybe worried that, oh crap, maybe I don't have this in the bag?
I knew Jer was gonna try it in these last few laps, but I just kept having a good exit out of the swooping right-hander. And I knew that last lap especially. I knew I had him in the bag, because he was way further behind me than the last few laps. And he didn't get past me the laps before that.
All right, Knight, anything to add to that at all?
Well, I'm assuming you're feeling more and more confident there about your championship odds. Tin Can with an unfortunate result, but Izzet and Jer, familiar faces there, catching up to you. Well, not catching up to you, but much closer to you in this race. Do you feel like there's a legitimate contender already? You have a solid lead on second place as it stands.
I think Izzet can still do a lot. Like if I have a few bad races in a row, I think he can easily catch up to me. Same for possessing, but other than that, not really.
Yeah, you no faith in a certain Alpine driver getting near, eh?
No, not really.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
All right, I think I think that covers at least what I've got for Wooter, unless Knight you had one more to jump in.
I feel like we see him here often enough that we kind of know what his answers are going to be. We're not going to give him that traditional media treatment of repeating himself every weekend. We know how he stayed out front. We know how he got out front. He stayed mistake-free, and he was quick. So, I mean, honestly, all I got to say is GG, great race. It was super fun to watch here from the commentator's booth.
Cool. All right, so I think we'll move on. I think I saw Izat jump in. Izat Kush, can you hear us at all? Yeah, perfect. So from it's from P6 on the grid over to a podium. I mean, a solid drive from you. You were doing good, but it seems like that option, the choice to stay on the hard tires rather than take that pit stop might have been the deciding factor for you. But talk us through it. What were your thoughts here, first and foremost, after that race? Yeah. Now, did you commit to right from the get-go to staying out on the hard tires regardless of what happened, or was that a bit of a game time decision to stay out?
Well, I wonder what past history gave you that impression. But hey, I have, yeah, I have to say, you were very patient there behind Wooter and Jer, and like you said, waiting for something to happen. Was there a moment where you think you could have made a move and you didn't? That you wish you would have just sent it? Yeah, well, thank you for keeping the stewarding room just a little bit cleaner, because on a week like this, we need it. And yeah, great race from everybody. Is it Uther saying that you are probably one of the ones who can make a legitimate title challenge? Do you agree with that statement? Do you think if you string together some good results, you could be one of the title contenders? And yeah, cannot wait to see what you two are going to do in Canada, which is, as you admitted to me last week, the greatest racetrack in the world. See you there in 2 weeks. Are you going to put in that very needed practice in the break week next week? Well, that's no fun. All right, Monkeys, I'll let you close it off here. I think I've said all I needed to say.
All right, and I mean, thank you both of you for the response to the interview, and congratulations on the finish and the solid haul of points. But I think that's just about going to do it here for the stream here today. Now, Division 1 is, like we were saying, going on a bit of a hiatus next week. It is our first break week, but we will be back on September 19th here, back business as usual, like Knight said, for the Canadian Grand Prix. So honestly, I'm excited for that one. But of course, we've also got Div 4 next week. We're making up our Div 4's race for Spa, so there will still be some racing next week, but that'll be at 11 a.m. Eastern for Div 4, so you won't want to miss that. But until then, and on behalf of Knight, myself, and everybody here at ISRL Esports, I want to say thank you so much for